common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Netanyahu really threw it to the protesters today outside of Capitol Hill, saying anybody who supports them and them are useful idiots. Joining us now to talk about Netanyahu's speech and those who didn't show up for the speech is Michael Goodwin, the great Pulitzer Prize winning columnist of the New York Post. Michael, first off, what did you make of his speech, of Netanyahu's speech? I thought it was terrific.
Well, Rita, yes, I think it was crafted just for this moment where you have these protests going on in the college campuses, and which will resume presumably in the fall if the war is not over in Gaza, and of course the Democratic Party, which is beginning to pull away from Israel in major ways, and the fact that Kamala Harris was not there, that Joe Biden probably wouldn't have been there anyway, but certainly the absence of the Democratic leadership, of the leadership of the United States, I think was an obvious impediment to what Netanyahu came to do, which is to preach to America that, as he said, our enemy is your enemy. And that's something that the left refuses to accept. It's something that conservatives understand implicitly. But the Democrats, driven by this progressive agenda where everything is about race and ancestry, and therefore Israel is a white colonizing nation, though, as Netanyahu showed with the people he singled out, Israel is home to many Arabs, 2 million Arab citizens, as well as Jews from Arab nations, Druze, Christians. So this idea that Israel is a kind of monochrome culture and population is just not true. And so there's so much ignorance that he was trying to attack in this one speech. And unfortunately, the people who really needed to hear it weren't there.
You know what, Michael Goodwin,
they
too?
Weren't listening.
Yeah, they weren't listening. You know what? I was astounded. I was watching some of the media interviewing some of the protesters outside there on Capitol Hill. And one of them actually said, a number of them said, well, we're here protesting Israel. They said, well, what about Hamas? You're sitting there carrying a Hamas flag. Oh, well, Hamas didn't really have anything to do with it. It's Israel we're talking. Are you kidding me? They have no sense of understanding.
No, and that's that whole thing. Remember early on, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Okay, which river and which sea are you talking about? I don't know. I mean, they told us to sing this chant, right? I mean, so there is this kind of, oh, you look so good in your kafia. Oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that flag? Gee, you're going to be at the tent tonight? I mean, in other words, it became a cool thing to do to hate Israel. I mean, that's the sad part of this. It's out of ignorance, but it became cool, like a fashion statement to wear your kafia. I mean, this is insane. This is like children playing grown-ups in a way that they simply have no understanding of what they're talking about and the implications. As Netanyahu said, you are Iran's useful idiots.
Yeah, it was such a powerful statement.
They are praising you. Right, and Hamas has praised the demonstrations. Can you imagine? I mean, really think back to Vietnam. There was only one person who I ever heard of waving a Viet Cong flag, and that was Jane Fonda, right? Everybody else was against the war, against America's involvement, but we weren't rooting for the other team. I mean, that's what's so astonishing here. These are people who are supporting terrorists against our ally. I mean, how is this not treason, if not in a legal sense, at least in a logical sense?
Yeah, I agree. It's shocking. Ed Cox.
And for our great Democratic ally in the Mideast, Israel, this is their time of the greatest peril since the Yom Kippur War. They're being attacked on four sides. Hamas attacked them. Hezbollah with their 150,000 high-grade missiles. The Iraqi resistance is now sending in drones. And, of course, the Houthis have just attacked them from the south.
All paid for by Iran.
And Iran is on the verge of having a nuclear, enough fissile material for a nuclear weapon. This is a time when they do need America's support.
Absolutely. And this is, as Netanyahu said, Iran is after not just Israel. Israel is sort of the Donald Trump in the equation. It's just in the way, right? What it really wants is the West. It wants to eliminate America. It wants to defang the Western allies. It's an Islamist state. It wants to spread its, not just Islam, but its peculiar brand of Shia Islam. And it will, many of the Hamas people are Sunni. They're Sunnis for hire. They're like the gunmen for the mullahs. They're all stupid to play a role in this advancement of Iran's determination to spread its tentacles throughout the region and around the world.
One of the things, Michael, I thought that Netanyahu did really well, too, was he said these people are not, to your point, not just, pro-Hamas, anti-Israel. They're anti-American. One of the most shocking moments, I think, that I've seen in a long time, Netanyahu praised the students from University of North Carolina who protected the flag during the protests. Remember, during the pro-Palestinian protests?
Sure.
Said, I want to praise them. They protected the American flag. And there were actually, and I'm just going to say it because it was disgraceful, there were actually a number of members of Congress who sat down, who were not clapping for protecting the American flag.
Rita, I want to say something. All these people all the people that took pictures of all the January 6th people, I hope the FBI and whoever else agency is taking pictures of these people burning the American flag, carrying the Palestinian flag, and make sure when these people apply for citizenship, turn your finger down.
Bravo.
Yeah. Look, unfortunately, John, there are two standards of justice in our country, and we know that, but we don't accept that. And yet the FBI is not going to come to the rescue of America, I'm afraid.
That is very, very sad, because 99.9% of the FBI, other than the ones that are controlled by the Biden Department of Justice, the political appointees, I believe 99.9% of them are loyal, patriotic Americans.
Yeah, I agree. Good, hardworking. You're right.
Governor Patterson, what say you?
Well, I thought, Michael, if we get back to the protesters for a minute, and you described it as like the cool thing to do. I think that what technology and the internet and all of this activity that young people are around all the time now has gotten them to the point where they actually see the legitimate protests for civil rights in the 60s and even against the Vietnam War, whichever way you stood on it. They were real. They were people who read, and they were people who had criticisms that even if you didn't agree with them, it was an issue that we talked about for years. And in this situation, it's like these people just think this is funny, and not knowing that they'd probably be the first to get killed if Hamas ever invaded this country.
That's right. Yeah, they don't appreciate their own culture. To be raised to hate your country, this is what the left has done, what the universities have done primarily. You don't really see working people out there. These are leftist elitists who have, probably they're the ones who have benefited most from the forgiveness of student loans because they got their graduate degrees in something that nobody would ever hire you for. There's no job market. But, the other thing, David, is it occurred to me at the Republican convention, Rita mentioned the flag and the UNC guys. The chants of USA, 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 you never hear that at a Democratic convention. Why is that? Do Democrats feel less strongly about America than do Republicans? I mean, is that the division in this country now? One party loves and supports and wants to continue to America to fulfill its destiny, and the other country doesn't like America and wants to stop its progress and wants to make a far left turn? I mean, is that a fair summation of the two parties? I mean, because I'm beginning to think it is, and if it is,
we got a problem.
Then I'm not sure how the twain ever meets.
Michael Goodwin, thank you for calling in. We're going to have to go to another segment. Thank you so much for speaking out for America, and God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you.